Today on Clearing the Clutter Inside and Out, we are talking about how to stay centered when chaos happens. How do we stay centered when life gets crazy? How do you respond to a personal crisis? You can learn how to ride the wave when life gets chaotic. Let's clear some emotional and spiritual clutter as we begin our month focusing on back to school.
Are you overwhelmed by clutter, looking to organize your life? Do you feel stuck and are ready for a change? Every Tuesday at 1 p.m., join award-winning professional organizer and coach Julie Coraccio on Clearing the Clutter Inside and Out as she supports you in navigating the waters of decluttering your life and getting organized. Julie thinks outside the box and examines clutter in all areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, and more. Ready to live a more joyful and fulfilling life?
Today, we are opening up the archives. School is starting, and that can bring a whole lot of chaos. But school isn't the only thing that can disrupt our lives. Illness, loss, financial strain, a government shutdown. What throws you for a loop? Learn tips today to support you in keeping calm and carrying on when life throws you a curveball. Julie Trell has been a practicing network care practitioner and chiropractor since 1992. She received her doctorate of chiropractic in 1991 from National College of Chiropractic in Illinois. Prior to her chiropractic studies, she received her BS in clinical nutrition and biochemistry. With her love for discovering and learning new avenues to assist herself, her family, and her practice members to grow and evolve, she has studied numerous healing modalities including craniosacral, applied kinesiology, acupuncture, SOT, inner child, breathwork, and meditation. She is also Reiki, the Polarity Way Master. Her greatest love is network spinal analysis, which she has been passionate about since meeting Dr. Donald Epstein. With him, she saw the whole potential for chiropractic and how it can be more life-changing and life-enriching for herself and others. Welcome, Julianne.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And Julianne, we've been on the show, and as many of you might know, I consider her one of my mentors, definitely in the physical arena. She's been a huge part of my spiritual awakening and practice, and so as always, we're going to have excited to have her on. So let's get started. How do we stay centered?
That's a very interesting question, because the truth is we have to find what works for us personally. And to do that takes trying things on. So some people can stay centered by meditation, daily meditation. Some people stay centered by, I know a lot of people that run, that bike every day, that do something physical, breath work, just sitting outside and just looking at the sun. I mean, there's just all different ways, journaling, there's all different ways to stay centered. So you have to really find what speaks to you. And so we're going to work with that a little bit and try to help you find some of those things.
Fantastic. So is there a difference between being centered and being spiritually centered, or are they the same thing?
Yeah, I don't think you can separate it, because I really believe that we are beautiful, beautiful beings in a physical body. And when I say being, I think of us as spirit in body. So it's hard to separate that. We're so connected if we really want to look at being in the oneness of everything. We're not just physical. We're connected to everything.
How do we know when we're off-centered?
Well, I can answer that personally. I know I'm off-centered when I'm in my office and I'm working with people, and it just feels like I'm personally moving through mud. I feel tired. I can't quite focus. I don't feel on. And I kind of, I like pretty things. I like nice things. That's who I am. So it's like when you put on your favorite outfit and you just feel really great and you just got your hair done, or if that's something for you, but for me, I love that. So to me, I just feel great. So when I'm off, I don't feel like that. I just feel the biggest thing is I feel like I'm moving through mud. Everything is harder, right? Yes.
Now that's really interesting because I would say I always wondered if it was what I would call a growth period, when I would call it moving through molasses.
Yes.
And so that's really, I'm going to think about that now, because I always felt when I was having that feeling of molasses that I'm just purging or like working through
Sure.
some stuff to lift up. Because my personal thing to feel when I'm off-centered is because I would so often, I'd get angry, I'd have a knee-jerk emotional
Yes.
reaction. And so then I transitioned from the knee-jerk into kind of not having knee-jerk. And so now that really happens to me. But I used to visualize kind of, you know how you do bungee jump? And I'd feel like I was like, doing,
Yes.
and that would be like, okay, I'm off-center because I'm having that kind of bouncing feeling.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And that's another piece for me too, is I feel anxious. It's just, I can't calm. I can't, I'm barking at people in my life and go, what is this about? It's not my natural state. So.
Now, in your practice, have you noticed, are there, what usually gets us out of whack? Do you notice, are there common themes that tend to throw people off?
Well, yes. I mean, I think that first off, we live in a world that is just very stressful. And I just want to address this. We're going through a time right now where the earth is changing. So just that, with what we're hearing about just recently, the typhoon down at the Philippines, I mean, it's a huge earth shift, and, you know, and all that's happening to the people there. But the earth is going through changes. We as people are going through changes. So even if my personal life looks like all the pieces are together, I'm still feeling an undercurrent of stress because it's in the air, it's in the environment, it's in my community. So, but I think a lot of it is relationships, you know, family relationships. I think money is always huge, and that is a big issue, obviously, since, you know, a few years ago when the market shifted. You know, our economy is going through a lot of changes. So that can be extremely stressful, and it's hard to find your core when you're going through all that worry and anxiety.
How do we keep our, what I would call awareness or consciousness raised? Because, you know, and we can talk about this for a moment, when you say changes, I assume, or I think of going to the fifth dimension. And so
Yes.
that, you know, I taped a show earlier today, and she talked about the fifth dimension and how we're already there, and kind of depending on where you are. And most spiritual people, my understanding is, you know, we're there now, we're in the process, and you're
Yes.
going or not. But, you know, everyone's moving towards that, and you're going to be, I don't want to say left behind, but everyone's stuff is coming up now.
Yes, to get us to the fifth dimension.
Yes, thank
absolutely.
you. Clarity, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This is a big time. We're all being literally pushed. Some of it's going to feel real rough, you know. Especially, it depends on my resistance. That's the big key. And that's where being centered helps so much, because I want to be in that flow, because there is all this change of moving into the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is all about being in the oneness. It's not, you know, the third dimension is me, me, me. There's nothing wrong with that. But I really want to live in that possibility of the fifth dimension, which is all about I'm one with everything. And that doesn't mean that as I move into the fifth dimension that life is hunky-dory. I mean, it just means that I'm walking in life more as a we instead of just me. It's not just about me, it's about all of us. So every action I take has a reaction. So if I send love to, if I spend some time and send love to myself, that could be felt in China. That's the oneness. That's how we're all connected.
Okay.
So.
All right. Oh, I like that. I haven't heard it described like that before. So when we get thrown off balance,
Yes.
how do we keep our consciousness, awareness raised, whatever your vibration, how do we keep that raised and not completely, what I would call, drop down into the emotion?
Sure.
Or reacting, maybe. And if you have better words,
Sure.
please share those.
So how do we stay centered amongst the bombs.
Yes.
Okay, which, again, the bombs could be what's, the government shutdown we recently all went through. It could be, your kids are going through something, your parents are aging and you're concerned, and whatever it is. So how do I stay centered in that? So that is the question. And I'm loving that we're talking about this actually before the holidays, because I'm getting ready for a big trip home. I tend, as soon as I walk in the door, it doesn't matter how many years or I'm doing this or doing that, every moment is another new moment and another new choice. So I can slip right back into my stuff. So, and what I mean by that is feeling less centered about, just feeling less connected to me. So feeling centered to me is all about being connected to myself. And if I feel a connection to me, and I have that knowledge of who I am in that moment, I can make a choice each moment. So example, the government shutdown. I have some very dear friends that were sitting at home going, I don't know if I'm getting a paycheck. It was very stressful. Families that were really affected by that. And one of my friends, she really allowed herself through that to curl up in bed for 2 days and just feel what she felt. She was scared. She was angry. She was sad. She didn't know what was going to happen. She allowed herself to just be with those feelings. And I think that's really important because, yes, what you were saying, if I can't skip, I have to really move through. So if I'm feeling all this fear, I really have to sit and be with my fear. And I have so many of my people have asked me over the years, well, if I'm sitting and being of my fear, then it's just going to overtake me. And it's not true. The truth is that emotions want to move. They want to move. It says it in the word, emotions, motion. They don't want to stay. It's me. What I do is I feel a feeling, like I'll get into my fear about something, and I start to marry my fear. And my fear and I go on dates, and we spend all this time together. And the truth is all I have to do is breathe and choose to just connect to myself and allow the feelings to just leave. And they will. They will. It takes practice. But they will go. Once the feelings, particularly fear, because fear is tricky, and I understand this. Once the fear starts to bubble and leave, underneath it is the polar opposite. Because we're both. We have fear and we have faith. So once that starts to bubble, the faith is right there. And that's the knowing that I know that I know. And that's the knowing that in this moment, all is well, right now. And I can make a choice. I can choose to live in my fear, or I can choose to, in this 10 seconds, to be centered. It's
Okay,
a
now,
choice.
since you're a wise woman, your next what you just talked about brought up a couple questions for me. So the government shutdown's a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, it was the day or two or 3 days after the government shutdown, we went to Rome for our honeymoon. And so I bring this up because people say stuff, I'm like, not in my reality.
Yeah,
The government shutdown doesn't affect, not in my reality. And the truth of the matter is that the TSA workers could have been someone that they could have said, hey, not a necessity, too bad you're not. And so I want to talk a moment about this because I know you can definitely add some wisdom about how we create our reality. So talk about that. I would love to hear what you think about that.
That's very interesting. I just had a situation happen recently to me where someone close to me suffered some terrible violence in their life. And somebody, it was terrible for them and really devastating. And my children turn to me and go, I have 2 children, and they say, well, Mom, how are we going to be safe? If this could happen to so-and-so, well, how are we going to be safe? And I said, well, the truth is that I can say, no way, it ain't happening to me. I know that sounds really simplistic. I mean, I know stuff happens, but I have walked in, I said, I've walked, in terrible neighborhoods and not the right times and in gangs right there in these situations. And I have said I've held this energy of no, 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 no. And I have held that. And I know some of you can understand that. It's just like, no, it's not happening to me. It's not my reality. And I was safe. I'm only, what I am. And so that's been my experience, and that's what I tell my children. It's like, you want to be aware of the world around you, and you say, no, that's not happening in this lifetime for me. And that's what my children say. And that makes them feel safe, because the truth is they know that's true. Right. And that's interesting. If you say that to a child, really, if you really say that, they get it. If you give them the time to say, they get it. Kids get it. They understand.
Are you feeling stuck? Does your mind always seem to go a million miles a minute? Can you easily navigate the ups and downs of life? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. As a lifestyle coach, Julie supports you in your self-development and well-being by showing you how to declutter your life. She considers herself a CPO, Chief Possibility Officer, because our possibilities are endless. Ready to take the next step? Schedule a free 30-minute consultation. Learn more at reawakenyourbrilliance.com.
Now, the other thing that it made me think of when you were just talking, because I know we've had this conversation, and one thing I'm trying to do in my life now is see a multitude of perspectives. Mm-hmm. So, for example, Obamacare, the American Health Care Act, whatever it's called, has a lot of people up in arms. And then I was having a conversation with someone, and I'm kind of like, really, again, kind of not in my reality, not affecting me. So, but then they said, what if Obamacare's job or real reason for happening is to push us towards alternative care, because we get so fed up with the BS of insurance and this crappy health plan of like, oh, let's treat you when you're 500 pounds and not get to the root of the cause and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, wow, first of all, I love that perspective, and how great would that be? Get rid of the drugs, have better quality of life. And so do you think maybe in the middle of chaos, having a different perspective might be a tool to help people?
Oh, absolutely. But how do you get to that perspective?
Right.
That's the interesting thing. So, absolutely. There's something I hold very dear to myself, to me, and the truth is that there is no right and no wrong. Yeah. And that within me, I hold all of it. I can hold what's considered bad, and inside me I can also hit good. I have light and I have dark. I am polarity. If I'm polarity, it's all out in the world too. I'm one and I'm the same. So how do we do that?
So how do we get to, maybe if you're in the moment, I'm trying to think of, because I was such an emotional, have such a knee-jerk reaction. I'm trying to think something that happened to me recently. Well, because I'm better about stepping back and not judging and observing. Because when I can observe, I can learn something better. But someone like got really bent out of shape at me at LinkedIn, and for 90% of the time I was able to remain calm, but then finally, because they claimed to be spiritual, and I was like, oh my God, are you listening to what you were saying? Because it was just so. But in the past, I would have gotten defensive, I would have gotten angry, and so saying more neutral, I guess, but I don't know if that's helping to get on a perspective. I mean, I think if you can get neutral, that can be a start of gaining a different perspective.
And I think so how do I get to the neutral is a big one.
Yeah, okay, well, let's talk about that.
Absolutely. I have a wonderful teacher. Her name is Elizabeth Tuttle, and she talks a lot about staying neutral. Being neutral. That doesn't mean that I don't feel feelings. That doesn't mean that I'm Italian. I'm fiery girl. I got a wide range of feelings. I like my feelings. They're important. But it's really important when I look at things to stay neutral, because like you were saying, Obamacare could be seen one way, but then you can go, wow, but that may offer this possibility, and that may offer this possibility. So what I need to do in the middle of all of it was something you said at the very beginning of the show, is I got to take care of me. You know, if I want to step into the reality of the oneness, that I'm not out here by myself, that everything, I send love in the world, love comes back to me. If I send, whatever it is, that everything happens the way it's supposed to. So, but for me to be there, I really have got to find something that works. I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's just funny. When I work with people, what really, really, really helps me is I make sounds when I'm working. And I warn everybody. I start toning. And because by making sound, I move any stuck energy out of me so that I can be clearer, so I can think clearer, so I can see clearer, so I can be a better practitioner. I can be, but ultimately that I can be better here. So the main principle is that we're energy. And this is the key. It's so simple, but I make it so complicated. We're all energy. I'm energy. The rock's energy, the camera's energy, everybody's energy, everything is energy. So therefore, I really must adhere to this number one energetic principle. And that is that energy wants to move. Then I must find a way to move. If I don't feel centered, if I feel stuck, if I feel depressed, if something is really whacking me out, I'm just emotionally just so upset about some argument I had with someone, or somebody's a comment, and it's taking me all these places, I really have to find a way. If we think about all that angst and we bottle it, that's energy. And so I work with this with people, is I want to move that energy from the body out, or use that energy. I use this in my office. I use that energy, actually, that bottled up energy, and I help move it to a place that's stuck, and then, it can move through the body, and the body starts to heal itself. So, but the truth is that energy moves through breath, energy moves through sound, energy moves through movement. Those three things. It's very simple. So finding something, that's why runners always feel so great, generally speaking. But when they stop running, boy, you don't want to get in their way, because that has helped them maintain this level of freedom in their lives, in their bodies. They just feel great. They get that euphoric, but they just do it. I have a brother that, no matter what, it doesn't matter the weather, he runs. He may only run a half mile, he runs 7 miles, it doesn't matter. But he knows for himself, he does it for his head. He does it because he knows it makes him feel better. So movement is important. One thing that I do a lot is I'll dance. I'll just put on some silly disco song and dance. And if you got little kids, they love it. So you do it with them. Get the whole family moving, because, you want to get all the energy moving in that house. And then you start to feel better, and everybody else starts to feel better, and it grows. There's the oneness. There's the community that we all seek. Go ahead.
Well, I say, can you lead us in an exercise?
I can.
And if we do a sound exercise, the first, for those of you who aren't familiar with network spinal analysis, part of the care is, in Julianne's office, there are 4 tables. And so she kind of goes down the line and works on people, but it's different. That kind of the theory is, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, that, we all help heal each other. And so you're in a room with people. And the first time she let me make the sounds without anyone in there, but I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be loud. You're going to hear me. Trust me, you get over that very quickly.
You do.
And now when you're in a room, you're like, all right, go, man, go. Just let it out. Let the sound. So if you do a sound thing, and I want to let everyone know, remind everyone, everything's recorded. So if you're watching this in front of your mother-in-law and don't want to do this, you can watch it later. But yeah, lead us into an exercise, whatever you think feels good.
All right, definitely. Definitely.
EO.
But I'm going to do a little breath.
All right, when you're...
But I do want to say one more thing before we do that. Watch, if you don't... Watch a child. Children go outside. Not all... I know our society is different, and a lot of that is changing, and not all children feel this way. But watch a child that a little one, when they bump their knee, they cry. They let it go. The feeling comes out, and guess what? They feel better. Okay, they may still need a boo-boo Band-Aid and a kiss, but they feel better. I've done that. I bump my knee. It hurts. I let out a sound, and it helps. So anything like that, we watch children, they run around, all of a sudden they got a spur of energy, they're running around. I mean, we can't do that at our offices, but we can do that at home. Dance or move, but these are really incredible principles, and so I just love watching kids because they got it. When a child is real free, and they just being kids, they totally get it. They're just. It's just fun, and I remember that as myself as a child.
Or a temper tantrum, and they have,
which is awesome.
But then it's
gone,
and it's gone. They don't hold on to it. They got it out of their system.
They got it out of their system, and at the end of it, they know that they can be angry and feel safe in the world. Yes. That's a big thing about temper tantrums, is allowing a child, keep them safe so they don't hit their head, let them go into it, just give them the space, breathe through it yourself as the parent, but you give them the space to just feel all that. It is the best thing for a child, because as they get older, when they have a feeling, they just let it go, and they don't. The number of people that I have met that are so terrified, and I understand this because I understand this, I've felt this, so terrified of their anger, so terrified of whatever feeling is going to, just like I said, take over. It won't. So it's just like trusting, taking the leap, let it go. So here's the exercise. Now what we're going to do is what's called somatic respiratory integration. And I want to teach this one. I usually teach a sound or something, but I really love this work. It is the sister work to network spinal analysis, which is what I do as a chiropractor in my office. And it's all about connecting. So if I'm not feeling centered, the best thing in the world for me to do is connect to myself and listen and go, wow, that's going on? If I could just take the moment to just stop and listen, sometimes that's all I need to do. Sometimes my mind and my body just have to be in the same place for a moment, and guess what? I center. And things, and again, that emotion or the feelings or the physical pain or whatever it is actually can start to change. Now, it happens. Now, I'm not going to say it happens all the time. It takes practice, and it just may take doing it some more. So what I would love for you to do is have your feet on the floor, and because I just find that so important. And if you have to scooch a little forward in your chair, but have your feet on the floor, because that's Mother Earth underneath you. And, not to sound hokey-wokey, but she's right there. That's another great tool, is to just feel her. So allow your feet to be on the floor. And start to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you want to keep your eyes open because I'm going to show you how to put your hand placement. But just start to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. It is so important to breathe out the mouth because, again, that's a way to allow the flow of stuck energy to leave, so you can be more in the flow of life and the flow of really your truth, your rhythm, your own rhythm. That is just precious when I can touch into my own rhythm. We're all unique and we're all incredible. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And so then what I want you to do is to take both your hands, and you're going to place them. If you can see, I have my hands really high up. You have lungs right here. The higher part of your lungs are right underneath your clavicle right here. And I want those parts to breathe. So what you're going to do now is you just close your eyes for a moment, feet on the ground, hand over the clavicles, over the upper chest, hand over hand. It's really important to have both of them over each other. And not hands really light. Press a little bit. Feel that part of you. And I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and really breathe so that you can feel the movement of your hands right there. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Really focusing your breath in that area. Do the best you can. In through your nose and out through your mouth. So important, bringing it in through the nose. That engages the mind, and out through the mouth allows you to let anything go. We don't have to ever know what that is. Now, for some of you, as you're doing this, I want you to keep breathing there. It may be difficult to breathe in your upper chest, of course. And for me, a lot of times it's because that's an area where I may be holding a lot of stuck energy, which can be seen as physical stress. My shoulders may feel like they're up to my ears. That's okay. Breathe in there and out through the mouth. So just notice, I want you to notice if you feel connected here. Notice if it's hard to breathe here. Notice if it's easy. There's no right and there is no wrong in what you notice. No judgment. Never judgment. You're already perfect. You're already perfect. It's just getting the mind and body together so you can really hear that, because you already are. So once you get a good feel on that, then you move your hands, and you're going to move your hands underneath the bottom of your rib cage in the front. So it's hard to see this, but it's about from where we were, probably about 7 inches down. You're going to feel like if you push in, you're going to feel like you're the bottom of your rib cage in the front of your body. That's the xiphoid process. That's the end of your sternum. Some people call that the power center, third chakra. So you're going to breathe in there, same way. Have a nice contact, hand over hand, firm, not hard, but firm. Let your body know you're there. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Really focusing your breath right there. And just feel the movement of your hands right there. And notice again, is it hard to breathe there? Is it easy? Is it hard for me to keep my mind focused breathing here? Just notice what you notice. Does it hurt to breathe there? Notice how much air you can get in there compared to where you were before. Is it more? Is it less? Such simple questions. Taking the time to notice you. Then you're going to move your hand, hand over hand again, over the belly button. So that's the third position. And you're going to do the same breath in the belly button. Close your eyes, feet on the ground, knowing that Mother Earth's got your feet. You're firm on her. She's always got you. And breathing in, out into the belly button area. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Connecting to that area of you. This is your belly button. Hey, belly. Sweet, sweet belly. Breathe into your belly. Notice it. Maybe you feel some extra squishiness there. Sometimes I don't like to feel that, but that's where I'm at. I just ate too many cookies. It's all right. So you just breathe. Just notice. Feel the squishiness if you got squishiness in your belly. Feel the flatness. Feel how much air you can get there. Feel how little air you can get there. If you have low back problems, as you're breathing in there, send some of the breath to the back. So you're filling the front of you in through the nose, out through the mouth. And you start to fill enough that you can actually start to feel the breath start to expand the low back a little bit. Just be present. No right and no wrong. No judgment. Just notice you in this moment, in this place. Just breathing in the belly. Sweet belly. I like sometimes when I breathe in those 3 areas to just actually, as I feel the breath open up and I connect to that place a little bit deeper, I like to actually send thanks to those parts of me. Oh, thank you, heart. Thank you, heart, for helping me, supporting me. So that's a very simple breath. That's part of stage 1 of the 12 stages of healing breath for somatic respiratory integration that was founded by Dr. Donald Epstein. It's a wonderful, wonderful start to bringing those parts of us together so we can start to connect and listen, be quiet and still, and just notice yourself. But the most important thing is no judgment. There is no right and there is no wrong. We just are. All of us just are. There's no right.
Are you feeling stuck? Does your mind always seem to go a million miles a minute? Can you easily navigate the ups and downs of life? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. As a lifestyle coach, Julie supports you in your self-development and well-being by showing you how to declutter your life. She considers herself a CPO, Chief Possibility Officer, because our possibilities are endless. Ready to take the next step? Schedule a free 30-minute consultation. Learn more at reawakenyourbrilliance.com.
I think probably the first time she had me do it, I didn't want to do it. I'm sure I was annoyed. It was very difficult, and sometimes she'll make you alternate and have the hand up here and then one on your belly, and not fun. So I encourage you, just get through that first time, and it becomes easier, and it also gives you lots of insight in yourself. So if you can just get through those first couple times. Do you think, again, we're talking earlier about perspective, so kind of when things are very chaotic, can good come from that? Is that maybe another perspective that people can see instead
Absolutely.
of getting lost in the negative and that,
Absolutely.
whatever emotion it is?
Absolutely. So here's my example. I 6 years ago I have chronic Lyme's disease. And for those people that have Lyme's disease, my heart goes out to you. I understand. It is not comfortable. For me, all my joints were very, very painful. So that felt extremely chaotic because I had 2 young children. My husband was suffering from post-concussive syndrome. He broke every bone in his head. I mean, it was a mess. It was just little kids. We were redoing our house. I got Lyme's disease. It was pure chaos. And I had no control over my body. It was in pain. Sometimes I could get out of bed. Sometimes I couldn't. So what came out of that was the most incredible journey for me. And once I was able to find, truthfully, for me, for Lyme's, I found an excellent practitioner who I went right on antibiotics for 7 months. And here I am, I'm really about doing things for my self-body more naturally. It saved me. But through that whole process, like I said, things were chaotic. But it gave me time. When I was laying in the bed, I said, I can choose to suffer here and really be afraid and all those things. Or in this 10 seconds, I can choose to breathe. And I would just breathe. And I would just breathe. I can choose to focus on the pain, or I can choose in this 10 seconds to find a place in my body that feels at ease. And so I would lay there, and I would just find a place that felt at ease, and I would just, thank you. Because again, we're both. We're not all pain. There's always another part. And so that really helped me. Mm-hmm. But the truth is there is everything. There's always a lesson. There's always a lesson. And it's just what I want. Again, there's no judgment. It's just what I choose to look at. What do I want to look at? Do I want to look at... And I can choose to look at the pain. Great. For this 10 seconds, I'm going to choose to feel all that. And it's great. There's no right or wrong.
No.
Yes.
Go ahead. No, I don't want to finish you.
No, it's wonderful.
I would love to know what advice you would have for people having a panic or anxiety attack. And if you have any thoughts from a spiritual or different perspective on that. And I'll just share with everyone. I had a horrific panic attack the night we got back from our honeymoon. Now, and it's probably something that I could look at a little deeper, but it's interesting. Whenever I travel overseas, the night I'd get there, and I had no problem this time, but the night I'd get back, I had anxiety attack. And a lot of time I thought, well, you just were with a bunch of people and then you were going home by yourself. I think that had something, but I'm like, my honeymoon is a great thing. And God loved my husband and I said, you know what, just be here for me. You can't do anything. But so what I tried to do was, and again, I share all my dorkiness with all of you, but I was afraid to go to sleep. And somehow my mind anxiety gets so crazy, I'm afraid to go to sleep. So what I do is I went downstairs, I had all the lights on, and then just got to a point where I was so exhausted that I slept. And then the next day it was interesting. It was a little less severe, and it lasted for a couple days, which is, again, very odd for me. It just kind of pops out at these random times. But what I tried to tell myself, what I did tell myself was, okay, this is an illusion, this is an illusion, this is an illusion. Because, I believe in self-examination, but also in the moment that something like that's going on, I'm like, you know what, I can't self-examine now. So I would love any thoughts that you can share with our viewers, because I'm betting I'm not the only person that's had an attack like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have a teenage daughter, and my husband and I joke that a lot of times we're talking her off the ledge because everything's so big. And because, granted, she's 17 and her whole life's about to really change. And it can be really difficult. But having a panic attack and having an anxiety attack, there's so many things. The biggest thing, and it's, again, that simplicity of just, well, the truth is that fear and anxiety only lives in my mind. It's only in my head. So the best thing for me to do is to find my body, is to really, again, breathe into my body, drop into my body, and just keep breathing and breathing, and eventually things will start to change. And that's how I talk myself off the ledge. But that's the simplest thing, because I don't have to take anything. I'll just breathe. And I've had times like that where I can't sleep, and I've got so much going on in my head, and I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. I mean, I'm a human person with a family and a practice and all sorts of things. So I just spend time just, again, when I'm laying at night and all this fear comes up, I just wiggle my toes, breathe into my belly. I like to wiggle my toes because it gets me into my feet. If I'm in my feet, then I can feel Mother Earth's support. Even if I'm laying down, it's right there. So it's really important to just come back into the body. I think belly breaths are really great. Try not to so much breathe up here, but really putting hand in hand over the belly button. Another way to breathe, which really helps to bypass the brain, is in the mouth and out the mouth. In the mouth and out the mouth. Because even breathing in and out the nose, it starts to engage the brain. So you want to try to breathe in and out the mouth. And I'll lay there and I'll start to let the air start to breathe me. So it's really just finding techniques that work for you. But breath is easy. If you can move a little bit, you go put on, some really, Madonna or so, whatever, anything that you want to dance to, and you just, if it's where you can, dance. The movement, just try it once. I promise you'll notice different. Notice yourself before. Put on a song and dance crazy. I mean, shake everything. Shake your head, shake your shoulders, shake your arms, shake your booty, shake everything. Legs, feet, shake everything. Sit down and take another notice. And I tell you, you're going to feel different. Just that. And even if you have some physical ailments and it's tough to do that, move what you can move. Move what you can move. But breath is great. Sound is great. Just sighing. Just make the sound. Make a sound. People say a lot of times that my father loves to sing. And I think that's helped him in so much. He had 7 kids, He did a lot of singing. But it helped the sound, kept him calm. Yeah. These are things, it's like commonsensical things.
Yeah.
So you start to take, that works. Another thing real quick is that people like to write. I'm not a journal person. I'll write gratitude lists or something, but people really do like to write, and that helps them to get it on paper. What's going on up here? Because then it's there. And then they can literally go, okay, I'm closing the book, and they're done. And they just close the book. And every time their mind goes to it, I've closed the book. for this 10 seconds, I close the book. I'm going to breathe. So got to play. Got to play. Figure out what works.
Yeah. No, I'll remember that wiggle my toes next time.
Yes, the toes really help.
Yeah. No, that's good. What, we've all probably in our life met people that get off balance very easily. Uh-huh. You know, that just anything seems to get them bent out of shape. What advice, and again, there's no judgment in saying this, but what advice would you have for someone or thoughts that you'd want to share with them?
Well, to just try something. And what I like to do is try something for a month. Try something for a week. But I'm the type of person, I tried it once, didn't work. But it's really important to try something. So again, maybe it's taking a 5-minute walk. Maybe it's a dance. Maybe it's making sound for a minute. Just making some sound. Sometimes when people will they'll hold their wrist and go, I wonder what sound my wrist would make. And they make that sound. Make it play. So anything that is movement, breath, or sound, and you do a little bit each day is incredible. I just found, there's a really great singer. Her name is Diva Praval. A lot of people know her. And her partner, Mitten. They're wonderful. And I did this 21-day meditation with them. It was mantra meditation. They're very much into sound, very much about using the particular sounds of different mantras. And if you go to their website, you can download those meditations and it takes 15 minutes every day. I mean, just try something. You're so worth it. We don't have to live. We can make different choices. And it's just choosing something different. And if you can't even make the choice to do something different, then it would be really good to seek a practitioner who will support you and help guide you through that. I mean, there's great coaches and guides. I know in my work, I work very much with people, really help actually before we even get into the spine. We're working with how releasing tension through the legs, because when you stand up off the table, your feet hit the ground and they're on Mother Earth, and we want to always feel that support and connection. So, I mean, right from the get-go, it's all about finding someone that'll help you connect to yourself, no judgment, and walk you through the pieces of that. So, and someone that you feel very safe with. But it is a journey. It's a wonderful journey, and it can also hurt. Sometimes it doesn't feel so wonderful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. A lot of people have said to me over the years, they're like, well, I don't understand. I thought that when I got enlightened or I moved into fifth dimension, I'd feel wonderful. No. Guess what? Guess what? You feel more. But the difference is, for me, what I notice when I can live there, please, I'm working with myself, moving through blocks to join that movement, is that it's when I live in the fifth dimension, everything is with intention. So if I'm feeling pain, well, I want to feel it. Wow, maybe I'm feeling this pain so that maybe somebody 3 miles away, it'll actually help them. That's how connected we are. In my room, when I work with people, like Julie had mentioned, there's 4 tables. You go to other network practitioners, and we're all over the world, they'll have more tables in one room. And the reason for that is that we're all connected. So if you're releasing something, guess what? You're helping somebody else release that exact same thing in their system. Because if you got it, they got it. We may have different histories, and we are unique. But even though we're unique, there's this common thread. There's this connection. I love that so much, because when I feel anxious, I'm feeling very alone with that too. It has that lonely component. Mm-hmm. And that I feel there's a suffering with that, and I feel very separate. So if I can also just remember, that that the sun will rise every day and the sun will set every day. That there is a common order, and I belong to it all. I'm not separate. I'm not any less important than the stars, any less important than the sun, any less important than any person. And that takes, if it's hard to get there, it takes working with, again, just finding somebody you can work through that with, someone you trust. And I do want to mention the SRI, the breath work. If you go on a YouTube, there are some people that actually demonstrate most of the 12 stages of healing. There's lots of stuff out there that you can Google and get support in that way, even though it's through the computer. I mean, there's just great resources. But that you can learn those breaths by watching a practitioner do it and guide you through it, and start to use it on your own. And it may be the ticket, you know.
Are you feeling stuck? Does your mind always seem to go a million miles a minute? Can you easily navigate the ups and downs of life? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. As a lifestyle coach, Julie supports you in your self-development and well-being by showing you how to declutter your life. She considers herself a CPO, Chief Possibility Officer, because our possibilities are endless. Ready to take the next step? Schedule a free 30-minute consultation. Learn more at reawakenyourbrilliance.com.
Now, if we're more living in more of the present moment, which, you know, is always a challenge because so many times we're living in the past or the future.
Yes.
But if we're able to live in the present more, does that help us, do you think, handle chaos better?
Absolutely. And so how do I get there? And that's tricky because, again, and I'm going to talk as the person who works with nervous systems. If my nervous system is wired to stay sort of in a stuck place with that, it's hard to move through. So that's where you got to find somebody to help you move through that. The brain is interesting. It really will. If you're stressed out and you've been stressed out through your life, and you know, some people go through traumatic things. Some people don't go through such traumatic things and still their nerve systems are very stressed out. So we can do all this stuff, but there's still that tendency for the brain to hold on to stress. You want to find somebody that's going to help you move through that. Network is a great tool. I love it. It really, really helps to allow you to move and get the brain to go, wow, I don't need to be stressed. I don't need to fight, flight. It's 2013. All that other stuff happened in the past. And it's 2013. And I got that. I remember many times before I got into care, just going, man, why can't I just get past this? You know, it just would be a recurring thing. And my husband would look at me going, why can't you get past this? You know, this was 30 years ago. And I couldn't. I could breathe and I'm doing all this. I couldn't get past it. And when I realized that when I started to get care is that my nervous system was really caught in the past. It was really holding on to stuff. My brain kept playing this story over and over. And once my body and mind were able to meet, and the brain was, oh my gosh, 2013, that was 30 years ago, let it go. It was just this instantaneous, the charge around that was gone. So it wasn't controlling me.
Talk a little bit more about that, because I had a thing happen recently. I've learned I'm a little slow. So the universe, if I need to really pay attention, does things in threes to me, because they're like, wake up. And you know, Amnon and I were talking about it earlier. So I had 3 incidents of drama around the show. And I'm like, hold up. What's up with that? Because I never have drama around the show. I mean, it's body, mind, spirit. Come on now. So I was like, okay. So what was fascinating, I said to someone actually who was a previous guest, Julia Payne, on the show, who does yoga and has helped my father heal. I had had cancer. And I said, can I ask your advice on something? Because I said, you know, you, Julia, there are a select few that I consider at a level that I can ask advice for. And so she had just been on the show. And what was fascinating, we ended up, she was like, well, I can't give you advice, but let's tap it out. And what was fascinating, these 3 things of crazy people showed me I still had something in my body completely unrelated to that that still needed that I thought I've dealt with that. What's up with that? I thought
absolutely.
so. Talk a little bit about maybe about holding on in the body and things like that, because I was grateful. Okay, release it and can let it go. But I thought, I know intellectually I had dealt with that, but there was still some residual energy being held in the body.
Because that's absolutely. So, in the 80s, I did, before I even went to chiropractic school, I did a ton of therapy because that's what the 80s were all about, truthfully. So, and, John Bradshaw and all that great stuff. And it was great. It was great stuff. And I really believe at that time, that's what we were all supposed to do, all this mind work. And it went into the 90s. And what's happened since then is it's moved and shifted. Okay, we all understand it. We all know it. We've talked about it. And sometimes I get really tired of hearing my story. So what I realized was, through my own care, was that my body holds on to the memories in a cellular way. And so, Deepak Chopra, a lot of people talk about body memory. And it's true. And it's not just, people go, oh, well, you get your arm cut off. Well, you have that body memory of that arm. It's not the phantom arm thing. It literally, each cell can hold a football field of memories and stories and traumas, and some of it's not even yours. It could be your mother's. It could be your father's. It could be what happened in the environment that you lived in. It could be theirs. And you're so compassionate that you feel it, and you've kind of embodied it in yourself. This isn't a conscious choice. I didn't choose to do that. It just happens. This is what living in a physical body is like. So what starts to happen, what you were saying, is that these memories, what happens is as I am called to awaken more, I am called to awaken more to who I really am, which is spirit and love in body, then it starts to get uncomfortable. And things start to happen. I'm like, what? I'm meditating, I'm moving, I'm doing what? I go, I'm serving. Why are all these things happening to me? Well, they're happening because literally the universe is going nudge, 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 nudge. Your soul, my soul, is asking to wake up. And I need these things to happen. And we all have different degrees of needing them. And I need sledgehammers a lot. And the sledgehammer will hit me and it's like, oh, yeah, that one again. And so I take a breath. I connect to it, find it in my body. I do this through the SRI work, the breath work a little bit we just did. There's a lot more levels to it. And just breathing and finding it, just breathing and just being, oh, sweet body, what you holding there? What's going on? Just finding the compassion. So, but it does. And it will drive you. But it's all about the universe saying, wake up. Because I said in me, very clearly, yes. I want to wake up.
Yes, and yes.
That's it. So things happen. The Dalai Lama has stuff happening. Again, like I said, a lot of people think, oh, when we get enlightened, no. There's a wonderful woman who's a guru. I can't remember her name, but when you go and get darshan with her, when you sit with her, she's an Indian woman, she will hug you, and she will hug you. And next person comes up, and she will hug you. She has incredible physical pain in her body. Guess what? She's still hugging. She breathes through the pain and she hugs. She loves. You'd think, well, why isn't that going away? She's doing all that loving and all that wonderful stuff. She's enlightened. People are worshiping, and loving her and following her. Doesn't mean we can't have pain. Right. It just means that I'm more awake. I'm more awake. Oh, I got pain. And guess what? You know what else I have? I have pleasure. If that's awake, I have both. I have all of it. And then where else? I'm told it just keeps expanding and expanding. Mm-hmm. Endless possibilities. Yeah. So.
Now, what would you say, advice would you have for someone who's really struggling right now? Maybe they're going through divorce, lost a job, just really in a tough place. What would you say to them?
Be very, very, very gentle with yourself. The mind is tricky because our minds are brilliant and we need our minds to sort of organize life. But the mind also holds so much judgment and stuff we've heard, stuff that's in the air, something, it just is. It holds so much judgment. So what I offer to you is just spend time just being quiet, breathing inside yourself, and notice another part. And when your mind starts to judge, just allow yourself to breathe and focus where your breath is. Quiet the mind as best you can. And some of the things that I've shared help that. The other thing is, when you're going through a really rough time, is to remember that one thing that I'd said, and my teacher told me this, and I love it, is that no matter what's happening in my life, no matter what's happening in the world, the sun will always rise, and then the sun will always set. There is a constant in nature that I can rely on. It'll happen every day. The sun will rise and the sun will set. So no matter what's going on, I can rest in that knowing that there is, like I said, there is that constant reminder that I don't want to say so much that I'm not alone, but for me, it comforts me to know that the world has that stability in a way. It's something I can rest into. And when I'm really distressed, that really helps me. When I can't see past that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just know that that's always there. And that change always comes. I just have to take another breath, and the change comes. That's really all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm all about action. What one thing can they do? You've given lots of good advice, but right after the show, before they go to bed or in the morning to reawaken brilliance, what action can they take?
Put your feet on the ground as soon as you wake up and feel the ground underneath you. That's the biggest thing you do, and take a nice deep breath in your belly and just let it go and enter your day. But start the day with your feet on the ground and feel your feet on the ground and know that there you are. That constant grounding Mother Earth is just gotcha. And just rest into it.
All right, now where can people find more information?
The website is bodywisdomchiropractic.com.
All right, fantastic. Yeah. So bodywisdomchiropractic.com. Mm-hmm. They do lots of great classes. Mm-hmm. Please check out their website. Actually, Julie Ann's been on the show a couple times, and her husband, Mark Trell, is an early guest who's a quantum neurologist, one of like 50 in the world doing that. They got a lot of groovy stuff going on in the classes and do other things and have guest practitioners, so check them out. Takeaways from today's podcast. To stay centered, find what works for you, whether it is meditation, exercise, breath, or journaling. Begin to recognize the signs and feelings for when you become off center. We are energy, and energy wants to move. Emotions want to move. Feel your feelings without judgment and release them. Think of a child throwing a tantrum. When they finish, the emotions are released. If you start feeling anxious, find your body. Wiggle your toes, breathe from your belly, or find something that brings you back. Good can come from chaos. You can find a lesson or a golden nugget to be grateful for. Focus on gratitude when in chaos and see if that helps shift your energy and emotions. Go out, clear the clutter to create the life you choose, deserve, and desire.
Ready to clear clutter and share your gifts with the world? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, so what step will you take today? Sign up for our newsletter and receive a free copy of our 10 Steps to Clearing Clutter. Julie Coraccio provides coaching, professional organizing and speaking, organizing classes, positive affirmations, and her unique How to Declutter Your Life course. Learn more at reawakenyourbrilliance.com. Subscribe to Clearing the Clutter Inside and Out and join us next Tuesday at 1 p.m.